Well, Bradley, let's get this crap show started.
What a day. What an absolute day.
If you're tuning in, this is going to be one of those shows. Just need to put that up there. Chris, how you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, Josh? Brad?
We're just hanging out, man. I don't know really where else. Hope everyone's having a good evening. Welcome on in. Gonna be a very big show talking about legalities. Uh, promise we're not going to go down the path of conference realignment or crazy college football playoff scenarios tonight. But I guess before we get into this, though, Brad, do you want to establish a timeline for how today went? Because I know it's been kind of confusing for people to keep up with the different court rulings that have came out and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. So I guess we should go back to this morning when what was it? Louisville officially announced the signing of Seth Trimble, followed by the Floyd Street Media release about the YouTube video interview they were doing. And then not even 2 hours later, the ruling with the NCAA and the Colorado injunction that came out. So that kind of put a stop on everything. But thankfully, Jabari Mack and D'Angelo Hutchinson had their own injunction through the state of Kentucky. So they're good to go. But we're now back to square one with Seth Trimble and Caleb Perry. And obviously, there's a lot of other athletes involved here. Essentially, anyone within the Colorado injunction that did not have a separate state injunction is currently ineligible. Now, thankfully, they can still get another court or another injunction. So, Caleb Perry and Seth Trimble can both go through the state of Kentucky. Sounds like that process has already been started as well. So, I'm not too concerned about the Caleb Perry and Seth Trimble situations. I mean, I think we're all pretty confident that they will be playing for Louisville this year. With Perry, I don't know how long this is going to take, though. That's the one thing. I mean, because we're 2 weeks away from kickoff, so I don't know how quickly they can get that through. But I think we're all pretty confident that they will play at some point this year. Trimble's obviously we got plenty of time for that, so I'm not as worried about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just been an absolute wild day, and my thing is like, does the NCAA stop at the Colorado injunction, or are they going to go state by state? Because if they go state by state, then we're only at the beginning.
Yeah, if they go state by state, this thing gets really, really interesting really quickly for the past 8 months of rulings that we've seen. But I would also like to add to that conversation. Officially announced this morning, London Johnson is not a part of the basketball program due to personal issues. To kind of add on to the whirlwind of today,
And that is not a injunction issue. That's its own separate issue. So yeah, he's no longer with the program. Does not appear that there will be any sort of chance to bring him back. So the London Johnson era at Louisville, unfortunately, is over, which obviously sucks because personally, I was excited to see him play this year. How much of a role was he going to have? Nobody knows. But now it makes the Seth Trimble situation even that more important. So, but yeah, the London Johnson era is over at Louisville. As to what happened, I don't know. There's a lot of rumors floating around. Don't believe everything you read or hear.
I mean, I'll be very upfront, Brad. If you're coming here tonight to find out why London Johnson got kicked off the team, this ain't the spot for it. There's a lot of rumors going around that could potentially be, detrimental to him as a person. Um, and we're not gonna dabble in stuff like that. But he's off the team for personal reasons.
And that's not changing. So
No, it's not changing at all. They gave him the bet. They gave him the future endeavors.
yeah. When you see future endeavors, that's when you know it's over. So, best of luck to him, whatever comes next. But yeah, so that's over with. And I do have. Just going back to the injunction stuff real quick. Like, I do have some notes and stuff on that. If anybody is like just as confused as 99% of people, DM me. I'll be happy to send you some notes of what I got, kind of explaining this as as dumbed down as possible, because a lot of this stuff is very confusing. I spent most of my morning trying to figure out what all of this means, and the moral of the story here is, I don't think really, unless you just got a law degree and you're fully educated on this stuff, don't feel like an idiot if you are confused here, because this stuff doesn't make sense at all. And it's going to continue to change, in my opinion, on a daily basis. Like, how many, the one question I would have is, how many of your average people would have any idea what even an injunction was 3 years ago? Like, if you're just a college sports fan, how many of us even knew what an injunction was 3 years ago? And here we are now. We've been talking about it really all summer and back to the spring. Like, and these cases are going to continue to stack up. And I don't see an end with this anytime soon. The NCAA thinks they're poking their chest out today, and and in reality, I think they're just making the whole thing worse. They had their opportunity to squash this from the beginning. They let it carry on. They didn't do anything about it, and now we've got this situation at hand.
And we've been very fortunate in our little Cardinal Companions sphere. We we have a few lawyers in the Discord that have been explaining this at a very dumbed down rate. Um, so if you're legal counsel and you want in to come explain stuff like this to a bunch of guys talking about football, let me know. We'll get you a link to get into the server. It's completely free. And then also, if you're listening in and you got questions, request to speak, and we will answer them the best that we can. But luckily, we did bring our the Cardinal Companion legal representative for us. We got Chris here, our expert legal analyst.
And I can't remember if I said this a minute ago, but just so everybody's on the same page, Caleb Perry was in the Colorado. He got eligibility through the Colorado injunction. He was not in the one that was ruled today in the state of Kentucky. So that is why he is not yet eligible, and D'Angelo and Jabari are. So just so everybody's on the same page there. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully that all gets, cleared up here soon. And, the Trimble situation is, in my opinion, it is a little different. So, and I think this is where a lot of the confusion kind of stemmed from, is the whole class of 22 situation. So in my research today and trying to figure all this out, when the NCAA first granted the 5 years of eligibility, they basically stated that if you were a class of 22 kid and you had played 4 years of eligibility, you were done. And this would be granted essentially for the 2023 class and beyond. But with a lot of these guys getting injunctions all over the country, they felt like, from my understanding, that if you're giving it to the 23 guys, well, why aren't you doing it for us? And then that's when all these injunctions and all these injunctions started popping up left and right. And it's what led to the absolute mess we are in right now, not only with basketball, but with players leaving the NFL and entering the transfer portal. And that's a whole nother situation, in my opinion, that we hadn't really talked about enough yet. Is like, you have guys that played in preseason games last week that are actively trying to find themselves a roster to join in college football right now.
Well, it goes back to that conversation you and I had, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, where a lot of these lawsuits that have come out have been aimed specifically at the basketball front. And then after they happen, everyone sits around and they look and they say, "Oh shit, this applies to football also."
Yeah. And, I was watching a video about this earlier, and they brought up a solid point, and it was, what happens if some of these injunctions get delayed till, say, mid-February? Which could happen, especially on the basketball side. Like, then the last thing any of us want to deal with is a February portal window, which sounds crazy, and it is. But look at where we've gotten. There's nothing that doesn't seem, out of the picture at this point. And from a basketball side, that's where my concern is there's going to be a situation like this. I would put money on this. There will be a situation with, a player trying to get eligible where he's given an injunction after the new year. And you will have schools try to add players, towards the end of the basketball season. I fully believe that's going to happen as a result of all of this now. Because there's going to be delays. There just will be. And you're going to have lawyers and agents fight till eventually, a judge gives them an injunction to play. And we're going to be having the same conversation in January or February. So be prepared for that, because I fully believe it's coming. Like, this is just insane. And anybody that follows me knows, like, I'm all for, players getting eligibility and all that stuff. But unfortunately, there is a point to where, like, this is just out of hand. And
Okay. Hey, Brad.
yo,
Hey, so let's before we go really far down the rabbit hole that you've dug 3/4 of the way down already, let's start from the beginning, just so people can understand kind of what's going on at a very simple level. So the Colorado lawsuit was an antitrust lawsuit, and so the antitrust lawsuit expanded coverage to a class action of people, which was a big chunk of the 2022 players. A lot of those players, in addition to being part of the Colorado lawsuit, also joined other lawsuits around the country, such as the one in Kentucky. But the one in Kentucky was an NCAA bylaws or a contract issue. So there's two different levels of law being argued here. It's much simpler to go after the contract than it is to go after the trust. And that's true for any antitrust lawsuit. You know, when we hear of antitrust lawsuits, traditionally we're talking about Google suing Meta over an antitrust issue. I mean, the two behemoth of companies, right? So the fact that the attorney wrote an antitrust lawsuit in Colorado was kind of crazy to begin with, because it was going to get overturned regardless, because it's going to have to go through the appellate court system and go through appeals. And so the injunction was stayed, which means the court gave a ruling. An appeals court said, hold off on that ruling. We're going to take it to a higher court. So the decision made by the judge in Colorado was paused. It wasn't canceled, it was paused until it can be heard through the appellate court system. What happened in Kentucky was they argued the contract much easier to get around. And therefore, that's why it won. And the same thing in Ohio, California. So Hutch and Mack jumped in on the contract side of the lawsuit, and that's why they're eligible to play. Interesting to note is Mike Rutherford said a few days ago, and even reposted it today, that he told everyone he knew at Louisville. He told everyone he knew at Louisville. And let's be honest, Mike is as connected as it gets to the University of Louisville for athletics. They better get Seth Trimble's name put on the lawsuit in Kentucky. It was only a matter of time before an antitrust lawsuit was going to get thrown into an appeals court. The only way Perry or Trimble play football and basketball at the University of Louisville is for them to join an individual state lawsuit, not the antitrust blanket lawsuit that was stayed in Colorado. They're going to have to join a contract lawsuit.
So, Chris, can I ask you a question though?
Yes, sir.
You are my legal advice here. My question to you, since we have reached temporary injunction in Kentucky and it's been granted, can parties be added to that lawsuit post temporary injunction being granted?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Now, I will also add, I don't know process in which and how that happens. Is it as simple as filing a court document on Monday, the judge looks at it, approves the motion, and you're added within a few days? Or does it have to go through a whole process? I don't know that. But my understanding from a few people is that Seth Trimble was signed by Louisville Basketball with the understanding that the Colorado ruling was going to be appealed. So they expected this, and there's already a plan in place to get him added to a separate lawsuit, or he'll file his own. So,
But couldn't have this all just been very easily avoided by adding him to the lawsuit last week when he signed as an additional security blanket? The lawsuit in Kentucky.
hindsight's 2020.
I mean, I get that, Chris, but that's not a lot of there's not a lot of hindsight needed if you got the guys across the street in the football complex doing it.
Okay, you have 2 or 3 doing it. Explain that
That's
to me.
fair. That's fair.
Explain
That's
that to
fair.
me. How
That is very fair.
do we have 2 or 3?
It's extremely fair.
So now, I will say I am not an attorney. I do have a master's of law, but I'm not an attorney. Person or group who's making the most money out of all of this is the NCAA attorneys. They're making it's an ungodly amount, hundreds of millions.
We talk a lot about records and national championships and whatnot on this show, but at the end of the day, billable hours is the only thing that's ever going to be undefeated.
And so, in my personal opinion, not just totally me being me, I think we've seen and we're going to see a lot of different lawsuits filed because attorneys like to file things, and that's how litigators, so attorneys who fight cases in court are litigators, and litigators make money by drafting documents to file in court. That they just keep the ball rolling.
Now, I guess so. My next question for you now. We've already established that the 10th Circuit ruling was an it's an antitrust lawsuit. That the NCAA got granted the stay request. From what we've seen, especially last winter with individual players similar to Trinidad Chambliss, and I'm not just picking on that because he's an Ole Miss player and we play Ole Miss week 1. It's just the most well-known one. Do you think we see a situation to where now the NCAA goes back to court in these cases and say, hey, we have this precedent out of the 10th Circuit. Let's revisit this.
So it's a maybe, right? So you got to look at the 10th Circuit is what level court? Circuit court, right? Did a higher court rule in favor of Trinidad? Was it a lower court?
I mean, it was the state of Mississippi.
But I'm saying that,
Yeah, that's fair.
But
Yeah.
it could be district, circuit, state level, federal level. I mean, it was an appellate court. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to get a higher level court. Or I'm sorry, you're not going to get a lower level court to overrule a higher level court's opinion. They're going to have to go through that process. The whole thing's a disaster. I mean,
I guess that's more so what I was trying to get at is how much of a absolute train wreck is this less than 10 days away from when we start the season?
We've all known this. The NCAA is a joke. The NCAA has been a joke. The easiest solution is just to rule 2022 players eligible outside of those who have signed pro contracts. Just be done with it. There are going to be, I'd say, very little names that we don't know of jump back and play because school is literally in session in at least half the country. Now, I do want to address Brad's comment about January. I think we will see this continue through the January or spring semester enrollment period because of basketball. And at that point, I think we see the end of it. Because at that point, it doesn't matter. You're not going to join a team in February. If you can't get enrolled by the spring enrollment deadline in January, they're not going to let you enroll in classes in the middle to end of February.
Well, so question for you then. Tell me if this is a realistic possibility. Caleb Perry, he's only covered under the 10th Circuit ruling. Caleb Perry, let's say he can't get added to the Kentucky injunction, and Caleb Perry, he's not able to play football this year. Let's say the issue gets redone in February or January or whenever, in the 10th Circuit, and the 10th Circuit says, you know what, actually, 2022, you get your 5th year. Does then that mean that going into 2027 season, Caleb Perry's good to go playing for the University of Louisville at the age of like 25?
No, and I think no. And I'm going to tell you why I believe it's a no. Because that goes back to the state level lawsuits on the NCAA contract. So contract, it's 5 and 5 years. So if you're at 22, then you're no longer in the 5 for 5. You're now in 5 for 6. And the NCAA has grounds to just get that dismissed, and they would likely or highly likely win every one of those because then you're at a 5 for 6. So play for 5 within 6 years. So it goes against now the NCAA bylaws.
You also have the age factor too now.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the age cap's out at 25.
That I don't even know what the hard cap is anymore. But to what Will said, there have already been cases that the NCAA has won for individual players for this. So like if for whatever reason Caleb Perry does not get eligible, he's done. Because if that scenario which you brought up happens, it is going to be an utter nightmare.
Well, I mean, it's all been a nightmare.
Well, I do want I should have prefaced my comment or at the beginning, but I think we're living in a never say never world. Right now, I do see one catch to this. If the NCAA enacts the 25-year-old cap, I do see qualified reservist or former military being able to sue and win if they were to, you know, join the army for 4 years and then go back to school.
Heard Jeff needs a punter. Just let me know.
Because at that point, you would be enrolling at age 23 and you would have 3 years of eligibility under the 25 age cap, but 5 years of eligibility under the 5-for-5 rule. And I think that's going to have to get cleaned up because you're going to have some people who, you know, I sat out a year. I I was held back, so I'm actually the oldest in my class, so I'm 19. So I think that's going to have to get cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I could be wrong. I don't even know if they have a hard age cap because of what you just mentioned. And it makes you wonder if they do, because like you said, military, you also have a religious stuff too.
I mean, you had the BYU rule,
Right. I mean,
which the BYU rule is written into effect, at least underneath. If we're going to go full circle here for a second, underneath the Save College Sports Acts, where 5-and-5 is being codified, they do have a 1 year ruling for mission work, specifically because of BYU.
Yeah. So in theory, I'm my birthday falls below or in front of September 1st or August 1st deadline. I'm held back, so I'm now 19. My senior year of high school somehow, right? Like June-ish birthday. That's a possibility. You could even get a late May, maybe early May, late April birthday being held back. Um, and then suddenly you turn 19, so then you go to college at 20 and you did a year of missionary work and you're at 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There's your 5. At what age do you turn 25? The NCAA screwed us up from the get go. So they're going to have to clean up the language.
So we just got a speaker request from Connor, which I got Connor up here. And when I clicked on Connor's profile, the first thing I saw was compliance coordinator. So I'm very happy, very happy to get you in here, Connor.
This is Jody Demling from Discord.
No way.
it is.
Oh my god.
Okay.
JD.
Okay. So 5-for-5. Your clock starts either A, when you initially full time enroll in college, or the start of the regular academic year immediately following their 19th birthday. So if they turn 19 in June, if they're still in high school, they're fucked anyway.
So you would
So
essentially
they so
lose a
they
year.
so they already cleaned up the language then. Okay, good.
So either way, the only delays are for military service, pregnancy, and then going on a mission. The September 1st is if the 19th birthday happens before September 1st, the period begins with the academic year. So if you turn 19 June 15th, your clock starts August whatever the academic year is. But if you turn 19 September 2nd, then you cleared yourself and your clock doesn't start until next year unless you've already full-time enrolled.
Do you think that'll affect any early enrollees?
I think you would be stupid to early enroll now.
Yeah. And just thinking of some of the guys Louisville's been after, it makes you kind of rethink
Well,
it.
I think that goes two ways though. I mean, the early enrollee piece is it stupid as in giving up a year, yes, but we're also paying players, and if you're not going to stay for 5 years, getting a little bit of extra pay now may be what you need too, though.
Right, but most of those guys that are early enrollees, like your early enrollee freshmen, most of those guys are not going to be your just for football's sake, 3 years and done. A lot of those guys are your incoming freshmen that, for example, I looked at a kid tonight who's going to Ball State who says he's graduating early. First of all, there's 0% chance he's going to Ball State and graduating early. Second of all, he's not getting paid a lot to go to Ball State.
So you're saying I'm going to graduate in December, enroll in January for my freshman year so that I can start with weightlifting practice, et
Right,
cetera. And that counts
right.
as year one for me.
Your clock will start. You won't have that 5th year because your clock will end early.
You're going to get 4.5 years.
Yeah, right. It's stupid. I don't know why when we've talked about like where I work, we've talked about it. Like there's no sense in sending somebody mid year at this point.
So like, because like football, you see that a lot more often. Like football, you see a lot of guys move in January, semester early. So do you think we're going to see less of that?
I think you should. I think honestly, I think it'll depend on the school. Like Louisville, I think there's a possibility that you don't see a lot of mid years. But in an FCS school, you might have kids that think, oh, I'm a lot better than I really am. I'm going to go in a semester early, lift, and try to show out year one, and then hit the portal and go get paid somewhere.
What a mess.
How do you think my day went today?
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Somebody texted me at 11 o'clock, and I texted them back like 6. I was like, I'm not going to lie to you. It's been a disaster.
What was that moment like when the news broke?
I was on a meeting with the track coach, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I got a meeting request for an hour later that was like, oh, we need to talk about this and figure out what we're going to do. Because I went to a game last night for one of our clients that happened to be playing where I live. And I said, I'm going to go and make sure they don't play this kid. They did. And then it flipped today saying, you better not play these kids.
But didn't the NCAA, and I could be wrong here, but didn't they come out and say like there's not going to be any sort of like punishment?
Right. So if you played them before today, no, there won't be. But if you play them after today, there more than likely will be. Because right now, and this is a quick like 30-second synopsis. Colorado, any kid that was eligible under the Colorado case is quote paralyzed. Any kid that's in a state court and they have to be explicitly named in that state court. So if Trimble jumps on um, the Mark Mitchell case, that's the one I'm looking for. If he jumps on the Kentucky Mark Mitchell case, he'll be specifically named in there, and then he'll be quote eligible to play. Now that could change, next week, whatever, if the NCAA gets another stay. So it what I explained to people today, it's going to change like 8 different times the next week.
But so Connor, the injunction that was stayed in Colorado though is an antitrust case, far more complex than
Correct.
a contract case that was granted today in the state of Kentucky.
Correct. But what I'm saying is the state cases, those are eligible to be eligible is probably the worst word I could have used. The state cases allow the kids to be eligible because they have not been appealed to federal court. The Colorado case was appealed to the 10th Circuit, so it was in federal court. That's why the state cases currently supersede anything in Colorado because like Kentucky is not in the 10th Circuit. So the 10th Circuit doesn't technically have jurisdiction over the state of Kentucky, Ohio. Let's see, what are the other ones? Texas, California, Louisiana.
South Carolina's in there too.
Is there a South Carolina one?
Yeah, there weren't nearly as many players, but I think there was like 15 total, something like that. But there was one in South Carolina.
So all the I'll I'm actually surprised. I said that we would have 5 more cases by 5 o'clock today, and we didn't. I was actually really surprised. But I'd say in the next week we'll see every state in the South, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, maybe even North Carolina and Tennessee, where we get another state case where kids will get eligible.
Will you see this going into football? Like, will you see teams trying to add players in end of September
In the end of
by
so
like during football season? Do you think like this will
so
carry on?
simple answer to that is, let's say I'm going to use Caleb, Hutchinson, and Mack as an example. Let's say because I know Caleb was not on the Kentucky case, right? He was eligible.
Correct. He was
He
eligible through the 10th Circuit.
he was eligible through Colorado, so he can practice but not play. Hutchinson and Mack can practice and play currently because they're eligible under the Kentucky case. Now, if we get something that flips out of the 10th Circuit, Caleb could play.
Or be added to the state case.
Or be added to the state case. Hopefully, I see him on Sunday, and I might get an answer to that.
So I was just doing some quick reading, and was the judge that did the Kentucky case, was his last name Edwards?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So just on a quick Google search, like,
Is he a Kentucky law grad?
oh yeah, I think he was actually. But just based on a quick search, there's nothing that would prevent him from going back and adding them to that lawsuit. I'm sure there's additional steps and processes there, but yeah, they can do that.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know that. So I can talk about the NCAA side of it. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't. Like, I was talking to guys that we worked with who's on campus, and I was talking to him. I was like, I don't know what half of this shit means, and he just graduated law school, so he knew, like, he somewhat knew what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky had a football player that was now ineligible because of all this too. So like,
Right.
he could do the same thing. I mean,
Well, what's
He lost it
interesting
too.
is the judge is a UK law grad and I believe a UK booster.
Shocker.
The attorney who argued it for the players is a Louisville booster.
Massive Louisville booster.
Yes.
Maybe we need Seth Trimble to get on that.
I mean, I think that's
He's
ultimately.
already working on it.
Yeah, I mean they're working on it, but I keep going back. I don't know. I keep going back to it of what, and I know it's hindsight. Why not have this conversation 4 days ago before you had an actual ruling in the Kentucky case?
I don't think we knew it was going to happen 4 days ago. I sure didn't, and I deal with it every day.
So this is where my mind goes. The NCAA has put out blanket statements through Pete Thamel, Pete Nako, different high level media people. Their attorneys have put out statements for the 10th Circuit case pretty consistently. The only cases that individual members of the NCAA, also known as commissioners of conferences, that have opened their mouths specifically for certain cases
It's Kentucky
is the one
case
in Kentucky. Exactly.
because
Because they're not going to be able to overturn it.
they didn't want the portal to open because if I'm reading it correctly, if you transfer outside of the traditional portal window, inside the SEC, you'll not be eligible, which would be Mark Mitchell, I think.
That's correct. So there was the court case was one hurdle, and eligibility was a second hurdle for him,
Yeah.
or still is a second hurdle, I guess. Now that they've won the court case.
I I'm glad that I don't have a I have one kid that's in one of these lawsuits. I guess two, but one of them went in the portal, so I'm not really worried about it. He was able to go in the portal based on the California court case.
So about noon today, once so we got timeline of events. So it was about really late last night, really early this morning. A few of us got notice that London was off the team.
Yeah, we got told that, I guess, last night at like 10:30, 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that we had to get it confirmed, and then we have Louisville basketball puts out their official announcement welcoming Seth Trimble, his little interview, followed by a court case ruling out of Colorado, followed by the public news of London Johnson being dismissed by the team. So by noon today, I was very much like Clark Griswold in the movie Christmas Vacation when he goes on his rant and then he says, "Where's the Tylenol?" That was me. I was like, this is giving me a headache.
Well, I mean, talking Louisville specific here, real quick. The way that I've looked at it all day, um, for the football program, does it help to bring back Mack, Hutch, and Perry? Absolutely, yes. You get nothing but better. But at the end of the day, we were not relying on those pieces, if that makes sense. If you didn't add those three guys, you're still gonna have a top 15 defense. So I was disappointed there for like a solid, like, I think it was 45 minutes in between the 10th Circuit coming out and the Kentucky case coming out. I was disappointed, but I wasn't devastated. And then, no offense to Caleb Perry, but the Kentucky comes out and I'm like, all right, we're good. We're fine. Basketball, on the other hand, that's been a downward spiral all day. I'm not gonna lie. Between the Johnson news and the Trimble news, and it sounds like the Trimble news will be figured out. But at this point in time, and by the way, appreciate our boy swinging by. Shout out Jody Demling. I just don't like leaving this up with the Trimble news because it's been absolute chaos for the past. It feels like 3.5 weeks in college athletics. It's going to continue to be chaos, and with the Trimble thing, I don't feel like that's one you can realistically miss out on now with London being off the team.
So I think it's important to note a few things about Seth Trimble. It's been reported by multiple deep insiders that this was expected out of Colorado and that there was already a plan in place for Trimble. So I don't view it as alarming. I don't view it as the house is on fire and there's a lot of issues. And I said this in the Discord as well. We cannot control a violation of team rules. If it's today, if it's in February, if it's April 1st, the night before the national title game, we cannot control what an 18 to 22-year-old kid does. He violated team rules. He's off the team. It is what it is. Now, the two of those combined sucks because it's one day's news and it looks terrible on paper. I'm not worried about Seth Trimble. I'm not. I also think it's important to note that there's still a fairly large list of eligible, not committed basketball players available.
So you're saying if you absolutely had to have a body, you could find one.
I'm saying I believe prior to today we were already in communication of adding bodies to the roster.
That's fair.
I mean, there's plenty of more talented players in London, and that's no offense to London. I mean, there are plenty of more talented players out there right now. It's just a matter of can you make it happen?
But let's not act like it's not been the strangest 8 months, 9 months
it's
for London Johnson. I
oh,
mean,
that
it was he joined the team, then he redshirted, then he wasn't going to redshirt. He was going to play in the game. Then he didn't want to burn the red shirt. Then Jody Demling goes on, and I fully expect him not to return. I've got it saying, and I've held strong. I said he was coming back, and I was like, he's coming back, you know, whatever. And now he's gone.
I just want to point out the fake Jody Demling said that, not our Jody Demling.
said what?
That London wasn't going to return.
Oh,
No.
no,
On
the real
24/7.
yeah.
No, I'm saying our Jody Demling, the real Jody Demling, said he was going to return.
Any more Tylenol?
He did say he was going to return, but he spent about a month telling everybody he wasn't coming back or he did not expect him back. Like when the portal opened, Jody was fairly adamant that London Johnson was not coming.
Yeah, Jody, who's now at On3, put it out in pretty plain English. I do not expect London Johnson to come back. And I was sitting and I told the two of you and a few others, and I know T Will was there too, but like I was said he's coming back. I mean, I was told that.
Did London play in the Bahamas?
Yeah, he did, and he had a pretty good game.
You know, I'd have to go check.
I wouldn't know.
I'd have to go check my DVR. But
still waiting on the pigeon with the scroll to come in to tell me the results of that game.
Top 5. I'm going to go with top 5 strangest one-year player in Cardinal basketball history.
I think it's right up there with Cron Davis or Corn, however you said it, or yeah, because that whole situation was weird too.
Sitting in the stands eating popcorn.
Yeah, he was sitting in stands, and nobody knew what was going on.
So I'll spell it out very clear for the people listening. At this time, based on what I was told a few weeks ago, I expect Louisville basketball to add another player or two as bodies on the bench. Now, I don't know what has transpired on Floyd Street since an ineligible ruling came out on Trimble and London Johnson was told to pack his bags. I don't know. I don't know what's all changed. And I don't think maybe anyone does. And I'm not even sure PK knows what he's doing yet. I was under the impression we were adding players. And I know specifically we've talked to a few, one from Youngstown State. Chris, is that his name?
I think so. Carroll, maybe. Chris. I know we had mentioned his name, but I don't know. I could have sworn I saw he was playing.
Chris Carroll.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he's even still uncommitted.
He's still uncommitted. So, and he'd be a great body, and he'd play. He'd play too. He's good. So we'll see what happens. But
Xavier, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Chris. Xavier, I got you in here. If anyone else would like to request to speak, ask any questions, add some additional comments, come on by. We can try to explain legalities as best as possible.
I just think it's important for everyone to realize this is very, very fluid. It's going to change again with some ruling, and then it's going to change again with a subsequent ruling. That's how this works.
So what you're saying, Chris, is that Trinidad Chambliss will not be eligible when he plays the Louisville Cardinals.
I put my reputation on the line for Milan, and that weasel screwed me. So I'm not going to be putting my reputation on the line anymore.
Now, I just want to point out, I'm saying that as jokingly. Trinidad playing is, I would say, all but a foregone conclusion at this point.
So
until September
not the
7th.
topic of discussion, but I am I do want to talk to the two of you specifically about this. So this has turned out to be a pretty good time to do it. New head coach at Ole Miss, this defensive coordinator, was promoted up to interim coach through the playoffs. He got the full time gig. Jeff Brom, arguably his top defense he's had ever as a head coach. Are we expecting a low scoring game in Nashville?
Well, Chris, I just want to say thank God you asked this question, and we can talk about actual football instead of law. Um, I am honestly, I am. When we talk about Pete Golding, and Brad can back up a lot of this, I have a very hot take. Pete Golding is not a very good defensive coordinator post DUI.
The
Hang
truth.
on. So before he got his DUI, he was really good.
I wouldn't say he was really good, but he was serviceable at Alabama.
And since he got his DUI, he's what?
I mean,
An
I'll look.
alky?
I'll look it up real quick. I wouldn't even say that. I mean, and it could just be a very simple talent level comparing Alabama and Ole Miss in the past few seasons. But I mean, let me fact check myself here real quick.
I could get on board and would believe that the talent at Alabama could make him look like a better coach than the talent at Ole Miss would make him look like an okay coach.
And I'll be honest. Also, I say this as someone the night after the Louisville Syracuse opening game in 2022.
22.
I went on a space hosted by Dalton Pence and said that Scott Satterfield needed to be drug out in the streets and fired, and we should hire Pete Golding. So yeah, Pete Golding. Okay, in 2025, Ole Miss gave up 21 points per game. In 2024, Ole Miss gave up 14, which is pretty good. 2023, 22 points per game. 2022, 18 points per game, and in 2021, 20 points per game. I mean, it's
So
not
so
exactly a lights out defense that he's been running. 2024, pretty damn good year.
no,
Won't
it's
say
not a lights out defense, but do we need to remember somewhat who the head coach was? I mean, I just kind of go back to Bobby Petrino 1.0, and it was he didn't care how much they scored because we were going to score more. And that's,
I.
to me, kind of like Lane Kiffin's MO.
I mean, I understand. I could understand that thought process, but like when you sit down and like the stats show the points per game somewhere, we'll say around 20 points per game, roughly. The Ole Miss defense has been so boom or bust from missed assignments and
So
very basic
you're a stat
aspects.
junkie, and I love it. I love it. So, and I don't know this, so I'm asking. Sorry to interrupt, but
You're good.
so 20 points per game. Where do you think that ranks nationally? Top 25 defense, top 100 defense.
I would say top 35.
Okay. So both, I'm going to say knowledgeable sides of the fan bases both believe that they both have a top 10 defense. Ole Miss and Louisville,
Yeah.
both have come out that they believe their defenses are top 10.
Yeah. And I think both of those are correct statements.
So back to
But
so no, we have the number. We have the number. So if a 20-point defense is a top 35, so what's a top 10? 14 or less, 10 or less.
I would say 14 or less.
So back to my question: is it going to be a low-scoring game in Nashville?
I think it will be. But also at the same time, like both of these offenses are explosive enough. Like, and the thing here too that you have to, realize early in the season, there's a lot of missed assignments on defense. There just is missed tackles, all that. If I was I don't even know what the total points line is for the game. I haven't even looked.
It's high.
But I mean, so you go. I'm sorry. You go.
I mean, as of right now, I think it's going to be
55.5.
55.5. I think it's going to be slightly under.
Bet up from 53.
Like I think you're looking at a 31, 31-21 kind of game. Whoever wins, like I don't think it would be, maybe a 30 to 20, 24 type game. Like that's right there at 54. Like I think that's what you're looking at. And, as many people as, they talk about Ole Miss's offense, Josh, I told you this at the beginning of the summer. If Louisville's defense holds Ole Miss under 35 points, I'm taking that every day.
I mean, my thing I keep going back to, and I mean, we're going to get really into this conversation next week when we start actually previewing this game, which, my God, we're almost there, boys. But when I look at Ole Miss's offense, man, Weiss is gone, and that Weiss and Kiffin aren't there. I get it. John David Baker, he was the assistant to Charlie Weiss or the co-DOC, whatever you want to call it. But John David Baker's never called a play at Ole Miss.
And outside of Trinidad and Lacey, who are as good of a 1-2 combo as you could have.
Not a lot of good guys in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, like there's a lot of unknowns with their wide receiver.
On paper, I mean, when you look at that wide receiver room, if you go by recruit rankings, it should be good. But it is not proven production at all.
And they have Jonte Cook.
And he'll that's 15 yards and penalties.
that was a late addition as well. So those are the kind of guys they're banking on. And if anybody knows the history of Jonte Cook, I mean, just look it up. I mean, it's a loose cannon. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with him. So if you're banking on him to do anything in your offense, good luck. Because you don't know if he's even going to be there next week.
He's gonna get a face mask on offense.
Well, it's bound to happen. There's going to be at least one sportsline conduct penalty from him.
100%.
So we have two elite defenses. Not totally, but first year head football coach, a seasoned head football coach, and two offenses that can light it up. And let's not shy away. We kind of joke on it, but Trinidad has the ability to get in the end zone.
He does. This is a next week conversation, but I'm willing to start having it now, Chris and Brad. I have a little bit of a take here. I think Louisville's defensive line is better than Ole Miss's defensive line.
Nick Chubb just retired.
Shit. Might be a little bit of a hot take. Might not be something a lot of people want to hear. I think Ole Miss's linebacker core is better than Louisville's linebacker core, but they're both very good linebacker cores. I think Louisville's defensive backs are leagues above Ole Miss's. I think when you look at this football game, I think Louisville has the better defense. Just being very blunt.
Do you think our linebacker core is elite enough to stop someone elite enough as a runner in Lacey and Trinidad?
Well, that's a two-part answer. I mean, we've been pretty good against the run game. Just go back to the Miami game last year. I think we held them to their lowest rushing total of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It's just with running quarterbacks, at least under Ron English, for whatever reason, there was a disconnect. So, that's kind of my concern as well. It's I'm more concerned about Trinidad running than I am stopping Lacey. I think we will play well enough to contain him enough to win the game. He's a really good running back. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best running backs in the country. But at least since Jeff's been here, the defense has been really solid against the run. It's just been the big plays in the air in the running back, running game that have killed us. So if when I look at that, my concern would be, are they ready to contain a quarterback like Trinidad? But stopping Lacey and their other running backs doesn't really worry me as much because they've shown they can do that. It's just for whatever reason we've struggled against the quarterback running game. And I don't know what it is.
I think one of the biggest things this game is going to come down to, and it's Ole Miss's defense. Their cornerbacks, Antonio Kite and Jalen Braxton, they both started for him last year. They're back again this year. They're okay. And I mean that as respectfully as possible. They're okay. You look at their safety room, they're bringing in Edwin Joseph Jr. from Florida State, which we all know about him. They're bringing in Sheriff Dennison from Florida and Jonel Aguero from Georgia. Outside of Edwin, a lot of unproven in that safety room. The cornerbacks are. If that secondary for Ole Miss cannot cover Louisville on the outside, I think the game's over. If you want my honest opinion, I think Louisville can win the game maybe by more than a touchdown.
And Josh, here's another thing that like anybody who's watched enough SEC football, I think will understand this. But historically, how many times have we seen this where the defensive coordinator, you know, the next guy on staff gets elevated or takes a head coaching job and it just ends in disappointment every time. It's just for whatever reason it doesn't work. I mean, we've seen this on multiple occasions with, Will Muschamp, prime example. Jeremy Pruitt, another prime example. And I mean, you could throw Mark Stoops in there, I guess. I mean, he's the winningest coach in Kentucky history, but overall, it still wasn't that great. Like
Yeah.
these defensive coordinators, they finally get the job, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work. Like, and I've said this, and I'll say it again. I will be shocked if Pete Golding is at Ole Miss in 5 years.
And something I want to add to Chris with the conversation about points per game. Ole Miss, 21 points per game scoring defense. That's 37th best in the country. But then you start really looking into the stats of this defense last year. They gave up 348 yards per game. That's 48th in the country. They gave up 5 yards per play. That's 50th in the country. Their third down conversion rate was at 37%. That's 50th in the country. Then you look at their rushing defense. Every single statistic for rushing, they gave up. They were in the 60s in the country. Pass defense is pretty good, but where it gets really, really concerning is you get to their explosive play rates. Their explosive play rates, they ranked 54th and 47th in the country for explosive pass, explosive rush. This is such of a boom or bust defense.
So big plays, lots of yards, low points. So they clamp down on the red zone. So
Yeah, it's bend but don't break.
you gotta convert. Field goals aren't gonna win the football game for Louisville.
Yes, and on top of that, they don't cover the run very well.
I think we have a running back or two or seven, but looking at all the preseason lists, apparently we don't have anyone.
Here's a question: If you're Jeff, and you're also going up against the great Brian Brown, because he is Ole Miss's quote unquote DC now. If you're Jeff, do you take the ball or do you kick?
100%. 100%.
I agree. I think you take the ball
Real
and you
quick.
run it right down their throat.
Real quick, before I forget, and we probably should have done it at the beginning, but huge congrats to the Louisville volleyball team taking down the reigning national champions 3-1 in sets. They take on numbers. I think they're 6th ranked Wisconsin tomorrow. So huge congrats to them.
Heck yeah.
They were talking about this on 93.9. That's why I brought it up. I think they were talking about it on Monday or Tuesday. But in my opinion, we're going to know, I think within the first 3 drives, how this game's going to go. And I say that because, for a couple reasons, but really the one that I'm most interested in is if we are getting 3 to 5 yards of carry in those first 3 drives, I think that's when you're going to get to see the Jeff in his bag. And if we can get that early push on the line and then, get Jeff in his bag like we did in the first quarter against Miami last year. Like if you go back and rewatch that game, I think it's one of the best games Jeff has called here. But you just knew early in that game Louisville was going to run the ball and run it well. And look what happened. It opened up the passing game. Like that's why I asked the question, is because I think you take the ball and you set the tone early. And that leads to what you mentioned with their defense and explosive plays. Like I think you can really take advantage of them early, if that makes sense.
No, I mean I agree, and we say it a lot. We said it for 4 years now, Brad. But something that Miami game shows about Jeff, if Jeff is able to play murder ball and play with like a 3.7 point lead, he can play that game plan extremely well. And Louisville, they have the roster to do it. If they want to grind it out for that 3 to 5 per play, set up the long play action. Hope we're not doing that anymore, but we tried it so hard with Miller Moss, wouldn't surprise me. But if that's what you want to set up, that is the type of situation you need where you have, hey, I got a 7 point lead. I can take a 6 minute, 50-yard drive here. And we can take the field goal and we'll be completely fine. And all due respect to Brian Brown. You can coach circles around Brian Brown in this game. What's up?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I kind of had a small question. Against a physical team, whether how good their team is going to be this year or not, would you guys at all be slightly concerned about us, at least last year, and maybe the numbers say otherwise, but at least me watching the games, eye test, feel like we were a little bit of a big play merchant team? Would that scare you in a game like this? Would be my question. Now, of course, Jeff Brom's probably going to pull some crazy shit out of his hat. I don't doubt that, and some of it's going to work. But would that scare you guys long term as this game goes on?
In this game specifically, I would have no issues if that's what Louisville did. If they popped off 10 explosive plays and won the game, because that's what Ole Miss has traditionally given up, was been the explosives.
And that's kind of how the Miami game went.
Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, Chris Bell kind of just, I'm better than you, fuck you kind of thing. And then get a couple crazy Isaac Brown 20, 30-yard runs. So that is fair. And honestly, I went to the JMU game last year. That game was a fucking shit show 80% of the game, but we have Isaac Brown, so it doesn't really matter. So that is fair. And I mean, really all you need is about two. I mean, you get two bombs and then the defense does their job. You find your way to 6 more points and then you win the game 20-13 kind of thing, which is, you guys were talking about that. I don't think we're in for like a 14-7, 14-10 game, but I do think we'll be like 24-20 kind of game is where I think I would settle.
Can I tell you guys one favorite stat of mine that we talked about a couple of nights ago? We're going to talk about again.
Yep.
John David Baker. He called plays at Eastern Carolina last. Do you know how often he called a play? That offense ran at 21 seconds per play. And that was the fastest offense in college football.
I think I read too where, and I could be mixing him up with someone else, but I'm pretty sure I read where they run a lot of the bubble quick pass game.
It's the Will Stein merchant offense.
Yeah, it's a lot of that, which I do think would play into Louisville's favor.
100%.
Like with Kiffin, they're going to take shots down the field vertically. Like if they're going to try to beat us with, the hurry up, quick slant, quick bubble screen, I feel great. I do. It's just, we'll just have to see, is it going to be the same offense or is it going to be different? There's so many.
I just shared something to the top. It's so funny. John Fanta, he said, this is a massive blow to recreation and leisure studies classes across the country, talking about the 10th Circuit Court ruling. So he's basically saying, we're not thinking about the other victims here, the PE teachers of college classes who no longer have students in their class.
Fanta is great. I'm just so over this court. Like, I've been trying to study on this stuff all day. It's just going over my head.
This season cannot come here fast enough.
Yeah.
This couldn't have been a worse day for this to happen for me.
Yeah, at least we got the football guys, man.
No, I'm saying like I was so slammed at work, and I was like,
Yeah.
how in the heck am I supposed to keep up with losing a guard for team rules, losing in the court ruling, losing 3 football players? 3 minutes later, we get 2 football players. Holy smokes!
Yeah, it's just a fucking mess. It's kind of comical. I will say, imagine there's a world we get Trimble back and add like XYZ player, but whoever it might be, because I'm gonna be honest, and I was kind of a London guy, but with adding Trimble, losing him to me is like super small. I didn't see him touching the floor against good teams much more than 5 minutes, like Kobe Rogers' role, maybe, if that.
I think
So,
I think
me
I think
personally, if with
adding
him
Trimble, I
specifically, I'm
agree.
good.
Adding Trimble hurt London's playing time significantly. However, losing Trimble and then not having London poses a different problem simply for body count. Simply for body count.
Oh yeah, we lose both. That's bad news, but
Now, I did say this in another chat, and I do not believe it'll happen. I don't have any thought on it. Throwing fairy dust in the air and hoping we get lucky would be a great time for a little skip to reclass and commit to Louisville.
is it not too late for that? I mean, is he
It,
not
it,
like
it,
in a
it
high school classroom?
I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, like,
Now that would be legendary, and that wouldn't surprise. I'm telling you, if we lose both of these guys, what I'm not scared of is PK sitting on his hands. That will never exist. Who the two guys are, I'm not gonna act like I know that, but we will get players. Like I said this at the
well,
end of last season. People were dooming like we will get a team.
I think the problem here that we have right now is that 24 hours ago we needed potentially a 4, maybe a backup 3. Maybe an extra 4, maybe something like that. We need some forwards. So right now we need some guards, and we still need a forward, but right now we need some guards. So I think things shifted real quick, and so I don't pretend to want to know who we're looking at, because what I knew, I'm going to say what, 3 or 4 days ago, Josh, on the basketball player side, can totally not be true if we've got to reallocate some money and go get us a guard. But it is important to note, for those who jumped on late, didn't hear it, but like Josh said, we were prepared to go into football season without Hutch, Mack, and Perry. Getting Hutch and Mack back only helps. It's icing on the cake. The cherry on top would be getting Perry back all as well. There's some time before basketball season. We've got a few months, 2 months to be exact, until the first exhibition game, which happens to be Kansas in Lawrence.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for the Flory Stokes side of things.
Hopefully by then I'll get my carrier pigeon back from the Bahamas.
On a personal note, I would absolutely love to be there.
Yeah, it's always electric.
I mean, talk about history, historical arena, the gym. I would, and watching your team play. I don't know. I'm not sure that outside of a home and home, we would ever have the opportunity to do this. Watch Louisville play at Allen Fieldhouse. It's not going to host an NCAA event.
Thing, unfortunately, in basketball. I said home and homes are becoming less likely now with
Yeah, you make more money if you have it like neutral.
and the RPI
Oh,
factor.
Josh, I do have an idea of something that we could talk about if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, of course. I'm just looking through the high school football scoreboard. What's up, baby?
Louisville football announced earlier this week that a schedule change is coming to
Yes.
2027.
Yes.
Why are we playing a week 0 team?
Okay, so week
You can't
0.
week 1?
No,
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 even
no,
better.
no. We're playing week 0.
Week 0,
Nah,
we're
I
gonna
know, I
play
know.
the Richmond Spiders. Week 0. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that. I think you are a piss poor football program if you're not playing football games on week 0. Week 0 affords you the ability to have an additional bye in the middle of your conference slate. Along with that, it is literally free real estate for TV. It is everything you want from a program standpoint. You get to start camp earlier. You get an additional buy. You get extra TV. It's great. I don't even care it's an FCS. I kind of wish this was like a week 0 ACC game, but whatever. Um,
But
it's amazing.
the whole thing about it next year is though the whole calendar's moving up. So like, and they're doing that because there wasn't going to be another 2 bye week season until I believe 2031. So with the NCAA announcing they're going to move it up, now it's just going to be how many teams can actually make it happen with their schedules. Like we won't. I don't think we're going to have a quote unquote week 0 anymore. You're just moving everything up a week. So you know, instead of us playing after Labor Day and there being 8 games on week 0, everybody's just going to play in the quote unquote week 0. So your week 0 turns into your week 1, and that will allow everyone to have an additional bye week. Because like this year, the only teams that have 2 byes are your teams playing next weekend.
Yes.
So it's the right move, because if Louisville doesn't move that Richmond game up, then next year they're technically starting a week later than everyone, and they would only have 1 bye week. So
So you also no longer have to open up the season at South Florida in their brand new stadium week 1.
right, and that's another big part of it. That game already makes me nervous as it is, but at least that you get a tune up before that is a lot better.
I don't know if you guys have noticed the roster. We got to do some big boy portaling this offseason,
Yeah,
to put it
and
lightly.
I would also anticipate us doing the same for the following 2 years with that FCS game, because as it still currently sits, the 28 and 29 season we open with A&M. So I would anticipate
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, they're going to run for Bill.
the last thing that I've seen is A&M's non-conference schedules are set with us on them for both years. There hasn't been, they don't have an extra game schedule that they have to cancel like Georgia.
Curious if they have any Power 4 games already scheduled.
When the last I looked, we were the only one for those 2 years.
Okay, then we might keep it.
Yeah. So
God, imagine getting to go up there for a game. Fucking
I was excited for Louisville fans to go to Athens. Louisville fans would have loved Athens. It's a great place. It's a great party town. It's an incredible place. But as of now, I do believe we play that A&M game. Both of them.
So their schedule for 2028 Louisville SEC schedule. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9.
So that's 11 total
They have
games, right?
11 games, so they can still add one more.
Yeah. So,
Which you would assume that they add at that point. If they have 11, they would add a G5.
And they only have 10 games on their 2029 schedule.
So us and their SEC slate. Cody, better late than never, brother. What's
He's
up?
back. No, I'm kidding.
You know something, Cody? Well, I'll put it out here for everyone else to hear, but the only thing that would make today better would be if Mark Mitchell committed to Louisville.
Will, pal, don't, or
Chris, don't do that to me,
Dude, if
brother.
that
Don't.
happens, my bookmarks, some fun to be
I
had.
think I sent it in the in the group message.
I
I
would
would be
personally pay.
insufferable.
I would personally pay Pearson Funeral Home to send a coffin to Mark
I
Pope's office.
think we would. I think we
If he
as a
goes
fan base
anywhere
would
else,
have
it
to
doesn't even have to
pull
be
up to
Louisville. Of course, Louisville makes
Lexington.
it to where, dear God, yeah, feels bad for Mr.
We'd
Pope,
have to
but
pull up to
nonetheless, they don't
Lexington
get
and
him.
almost just
Say
be
what you
like,
want. If they don't get him, we don't get your whatever happens. That team is mid, man. It's not
yeah,
horrible, but
I agree. I
it's
think
okay.
that's their
It's
last
cool.
that's their
It's like a
last hope
fringe
is
ranked team.
that's
So real quick, on the Mark Mitchell thing, I'll say this: the very very talented player does come with baggage.
Yeah, that's true.
There's off court drama you will get with Mark Mitchell. Is the juice worth the squeeze? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, on paper, they'd look like a pretty solid team at that point, but yeah, who knows? There's always the off court shit. So
I think they got a good starting five if they get them, but the drop off of in their benches.
who all in here's going to Nashville in 2 weeks?
I'll be there. I know. And Jeff Brom, we trust Will.
Nobody.
I will be there.
I will
Yep.
be out of town, but I'll be watching.
Yeah, I think I'm headed down Saturday morning.
Hell
Probably
yeah.
spend the whole weekend there.
Attaboy.
Through Monday. So
119. That's where
pretty
I'll be
fun.
at.
I think Louisville travels well.
I think
Yeah,
we will, especially
especially
with
in
the hype.
Nashville. Even like Sugar Bowl back in the day. Like, yeah,
I think both teams travel extremely well for that game.
yeah.
I'm surprised, and Jeff, Brad, you can kind of correct me on this if I'm wrong. I don't remember a lot of these like week one kickoff games ever being in Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, especially the higher profile ones. I think we're going to see it a
Yeah,
lot more over the coming years. But
with the new stadium,
yeah,
absolutely.
um,
I went to the one in regarding us. I went to Jeff Brom's first game in Atlanta against Georgia Tech, and I mean, obviously, Georgia Tech had a good showing just by proximity, but we had a good showing.
yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of people there because, like, I mean, you can see it on here. Like everybody's going, and I think you're going to have a lot of people there that don't have tickets, but they're just there.
Oh yeah, I mean it's such an easy trip for both fan bases also.
The arrest records are going to be fun to read. I'm just saying. You're
You're gonna throw a chair off of a bar.
Dude, that's so funny. I'm in a group text with I'm going there for a bachelor party. One of
I
my
thought
best friends, and we had texted in the group, and my buddy was like, "Hey, you gonna
We are
throw it
getting
off the?"
in
I
bar
thought you
fights
were about to be like,
regardless
yeah,
of
I'm in
when
a
it
group
is.
chat with Morgan Wallen. I'm be like, okay, cool.
if we win, hey, anything is an option at that point.
Dude, I already know I'm gonna be so obnoxious at that game just because like they're a football school and it's fucking like, bro, their fans were in some comments talking about they won something in baseball, but nonetheless, they really haven't done a whole lot sports wise. So, and especially if we beat them in football, I don't know, that'll definitely be something.
I just think it'll be like just take 10 seconds to imagine this. We're walking out in Nissan Stadium. We win the game, right? The only thing those Ole Miss fans are going to be thinking about is LSU.
Yeah, week 3, gotta win that one.
I mean, that's their only, and that's a concern for me for their program.
Which I don't think they're gonna win that game either. By the way, teach their own.
And I do think that the game day announcing that this week, I don't know. I think that certainly didn't hurt us at all.
It's rat poison. Well, yeah, guys. So speaking of that, I got a question for you, Brad. I got a question for you.
Of course.
Does the game day staff let Kiffin on stage for game day?
If they don't, they should get rid of the show. And I fully mean that. You have an opportunity to have Pat McAfee, Nick Saban, and Lane Kiffin on a stage in Oxford. Hey, put Marty Smith on there too. You have a chance to have one of the best interviews of all time.
No, I think this. I think you're gonna have this set, and then McAfee's gonna say, "We've got to go to breaking news," and it's gonna be Marty Smith and Lane Kiffin at the airport in Oxford, and him interviewing, just like he did, hiding behind the bushes before he left to Baton Rouge.
Well, you know what they should do? If they want to bring Lane on stage to like interview him during game day and they're worried about like people throwing things, mustard bottles, golf balls, some would say.
Or
You
other
got to
objects like we saw last night.
other objects.
Oh, they're gonna start throwing batteries up in there.
You got to put Tim Tebow on stage with him because no one's going to throw anything at Tebow. Everybody loves Tim Tebow.
Well, I mean, I think LSU plays at Tennessee this year, and didn't Heupel say, "Yeah, bring the mustard"?
He did.
He did say that.
He did.
Another thing that we're going to get, though, on that day is you're going to get the best college game day signs of all time.
They honestly, so like, you guys did you guys go to game day in 2016?
I did not.
Absolutely.
Okay. What time did you have to line up for game day, Cody?
I got there. I got there a little late, but I had some buddies get there. I mean, dude, I know people that went to the bar and stayed at the bar till 4, and then went there.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't that crazy. I went out the night before, but I'm like 99% positive we got there at 5 a.m.
Oh, I believe every bit of that.
I like 99%. I was still drunk. I know that. But if game day was smart, they would do an extended game day and start it at like 6 a.m.
That'd be insane.
So speaking of the high school football, so Trinity went on the road to the number 24 ranked Anderson High School in Ohio and beat them 59-13.
Yeah, Tree's gonna be a problem this year.
Trinity's going to be a wagon.
Brown also had 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Mike King
showed out.
Jihad.
You guys want to talk about Keelan Hall?
Might as well.
God, yeah, might as well. I mean,
Okay.
dude, here's the
I
thing.
forgot that happened today too.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. I like tweeted something. Today's probably, as a U of L and a Ravens fan, man, today's been tough.
Asked someone earlier
R.I.P.
if
R.I.P.
it was
Batman.
Dude, RIP Batman for sure. But,
is it 2027 or 2017 again?
dude, no kidding. No kidding. Dude, free my man. He didn't do a damn thing. I'm kidding.
Didn't do
Uh,
nothing.
no, with the thing with Keelan, man, like, let's be realistic here, and I'll have UK fans in my mentions, and I've had them in my mentions. He's not going to UK. He's not going to U of L. Like, he's I mean, we've talked about it. He's going to go somewhere up north.
Yeah, man. I mean, my thing with Keelan, this is not a shot at Keelan at all, so please don't take it that way. Keelan Hall is a very, 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 very good football player. Like, very, very, very good football player. Let's all be completely honest, though, with ourselves for a second. He is a very good football player at a position that is extremely important and that it oftentimes makes the most money out of high school in NIL. Could Louisville get involved with him? Sure. But this isn't me trying to sound mean. Louisville's not bringing in 5-star offensive linemen.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to be realistic here, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
there's no chance we're paying. I mean, we're looking at 1.5 to 2 for him, probably. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
100%. No, 100%.
Yeah,
It's
that
gonna
we're
be
not we're not paying that for. We'll get a Clev Lubin out of the portal. You know, like that's what we do. Like, find somebody at the lower level. We can't.
It would be, without a doubt, your highest paid high school recruit ever.
Of all time,
It-
100%.
like,
and honestly, probably including basketball in that conversation.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And
Pat would throw a hissy fit if he found out.
well, like to me, also it's a position that you've recruited extremely well out of the portal anyway. Like it's not a position that is a dire need.
I agree.
If
Completely agree.
Yeah,
if there's a kid in the future that is as highly ranked as Keelan at quarterback, yeah, I think we make a strong effort.
that's a different conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, completely agree.
But
Yeah. It's just the nature of the position that he's in, you know?
right. And this is a kid that, if that you definitely want to keep a relationship with, because if for whatever reason it doesn't work, it's a kid you can get in a year or two. Like that's how I view it.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. And like,
yeah, I think that. Oh, go ahead, Josh. My bad.
oh, sorry, Cody. I was just gonna say, like, I don't want my comments to be misconstrued as someone being like, "Oh, Louisville doesn't need Keelan Hall." Like, yes, Louisville absolutely would love to have Keelan Hall if it was realistic. The situation is not realistic for Louisville to spend this kind of money at that position.
No, you took the words out of my mouth. I mean, when I when I respond to people, on here, I'm like, I try to very much be realistic here. He's not playing in the state, and then UK fans are going to come at me and be like, well, insiders say that we're leading, blah blah blah. Like, dude, he's going to go to the tier one upper echelons of college football, and we as in UK U of L were to hope like he transfers to one of us in a couple of years.
I mean this as respectfully as possible, Cody. As respectfully as possible.
Of course, of course.
If the University of Kentucky pays the money that Keelan Hall is asking and gets him as a commitment, first off, congratulations. Good for you guys. Second off, you need to fire your general manager the very next day.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. I
Based
mean,
off of that budget, you can't do it.
we've talked about the amount they offered him. I mean, again, we're looking. I mean, we're not going to get specific, but it's 1.5 to 2. Like, how many recruits you can get for that. I mean, obviously, like high level, you could get 2 high level recruits for that.
Brother, you could build a top 300 offensive line for, I would say, just north of 2.
Yeah,
Based off
there-
this last cycle, knowing what I know, talking to the people I talked to, you could you could probably get top 300 guys north of 2.
I'd say there you could get 2 Jake Narwhals for that price.
Eh,
Yeah,
not
I was gonna say it's kind of a.
Nara. Yeah,
I said that
Nara's
and I was like,
very.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
He's a very unique situation because this quarterback class is so poor, and I'm
Yeah,
not saying that out of spite either. This is a naturally bad high school class for quarterbacks, where his ranking has been inflated because of the guys around him. Uh, and money is going to be spent on QBs in this class. So there's not very many.
yeah. No, I mean, he's again,
Realistically,
he's a hell of a player, man.
you
He's one of those guys like if he's again, and it's the nature of the position that he's in. If he's a skill player, I would say this: if Jahad Brown was that high, I'd say throw a blank check at him. But it just with him being a defensive lineman, or if he was an offensive lineman, I just you can't. It's I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it. And that's me. Like, of course, I would love for him to come here. Yeah, I'm stupid salty that we're not in his top 12. But again, I'm trying to be realistic here. He's not. He wasn't going to come here. I don't want to get my hopes up and be like, oh, he's in our top 12. And I'm not saying that is a shot to UK fans. I know, I'm buddies with a handful of them on here. But it's just, again, it's being realistic. We don't have the money like an Ohio State or a Notre Dame or somebody like that does. So it's just the truth.
I'll
you
say
to
this
answer your
though. I
question
think
though.
my issue is he didn't release a top 5. He released a top 12, and I think you got to keep the hometown team in your top 12. I just think the image of he's a huge Louisville fan. First and foremost, he's a huge Louisville fan, and obviously he's got to do what's best for his career. And I do think and agree with everything that's been said. We're going to see him at an A&M, of Ohio State, or Notre Dame, an LSU. Like, that's just where we're going to see him play. And I hope he crushes it. I hope he crushes it.
100%.
But the image you give off by leaving the hometown school out, who you are a massive fan of, and then you leave the rival on there, speaks volumes.
Let me ask y'all this. Do you think that the ACC plays a factor in that? I mean, it has to, in my opinion. Like, all those schools are now. I don't know if I think Miami's probably the only ACC. If Miami is on there, I don't have it pulled up. But do you think the ACC plays a factor in that? Like, if we were in the SEC, I think
I don't. I think, from my understanding of the situation, trying to word this carefully, so I apologize. From my understanding, we very clearly told Keelan, we're not going to pay you what the going rate is. Best of luck. We'd love to have you. We're not willing to go that high, and it's a pure just business standpoint at that point.
which is again, I think this is the synopsis of our conversation is it's a smart business decision. I get it. Strictly from a fan, like somebody being online, like, people are dogging Big Dog. And the thing is, not to air out any, of our private conversations, but he knows what he's doing, man. The staff knows what he's doing. Like, we're not going to waste our time because it's just, like you said, Josh, we're not going to pay him the going rate for it. He's a top 10 player. Like,
yeah, like, we're not going to waste your time.
exactly.
We're not going to waste your time. Don't waste our time.
Exactly. It's like, wow, like, and again, this isn't a shot at UK at all. I'm sure we may have some UK guys in here listening. And again, this is not a shot at them at all. But like, I would almost, and this is me just trying to maybe be logical, but like, I'd rather kind of be where we are versus them, where it's like, so there's still hope, It's like, oh, there's a chance. Like, let's be real here, man. And again, unless they throw gaudy money at them or him, excuse me, he's going to go to an Ohio State. He's going to go to a Notre Dame. Like, that's just how it is, man. That's it's part of the game.
I mean, again, and like what I'll keep going back to, and I don't mean this as disrespectfully to Keelan at all. He's a hell of a player. I would rather get 4 to 5 top 300 guys than Keelan Hall, just based off of where our program sits.
I'd rather get 3 Jahide Browns over him.
I mean, and realistically, let's be honest, you could get an Isaac Brown level player for half of that out of high school.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, maybe 2.
Brad, going back to what you're saying though, Brad, is like, we have no reason to doubt, especially Coach Barkley, we have no reason to doubt their eyeball of talent. He's brought in, he brought in Isaac Brown, which, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, was he a low 4-star, high 3-star?
He's a high 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, okay, do we want to go and again, I'm going back with Josh. I got to tiptoe around what I say, but like, for you to throw the money out to Keelan, it would almost kind of to be like see, I told you we could win him. It's kind of like a prove it situation versus more like a, logical, smart business decision. Does that make sense? I feel like that was a bad way
No,
of
it
explaining it.
definitely does. I mean, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I mean, you've proven you can recruit that position out of the portal well. You can get
even high school though too.
Like, you can get multiple guys for that price.
Would love to know what we were paying Isaac when he first came out of high school. I would love
It
to
was
know.
not. I'm not going to put it out there. It was not a lot.
No, it
I was
wasn't.
gonna say I don't think I remember what we've talked about. I don't know if we've talked about this, but like I guarantee it wasn't a lot. That's what I'm saying.
And
We're development. And here's the thing, man. Like this is how I feel about not to kind of air out my business, but like this is kind of how I feel about like maybe mid majors in basketball. Low mid majors, you almost have to have you have to go the Division 2 or the JUCO route and have just like a good eye of talent rather than just trying to like outbid somebody, and not saying that's where we're at, but it's like we have to understand again, we don't have Ohio State money, we don't have Notre Dame money. We have to be frugal with it. We have to understand like kind of what we're working with, and it's like, okay, hey, if we have a budget of X amount of money, do we want to spend a quarter of it on Keelan Hall, or do you want to trust our recruiting, talent observation? Sorry, I can't think of how I'm trying to describe it, but it's like, would you trust our evaluation of that and go and kind of risk it, uh, lack of a better term, and try to get like an Isaac Brown who's high 3-star.
and to kind of sum all this up too, think about it like this: Ohio State's most recent jersey patch deal that they agreed to and announced was more than Louisville's roster the last 3 years each year. Like it's like that's the kind of like that's how big of a deal it is. Like Louisville football, for the most part, is never going to be at the level to where they can afford to spend that kind of money on a defensive lineman out of high school. We're just not.
It'd be like us for it. It's like roles reversed almost in basketball.
Right, right. I mean it. That any Louisville fan who thought we had a chance, unfortunately, you were being unrealistic.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, all right, let's be realistic here, man. Like, yeah, it would have been dope to see us be in that top 12. And while I agree with Chris, like, yeah, it does suck. It'd be almost like kind of just dragging it on, like, oh, so there's still a chance. Like now, I know there's not. We can move on. Like it's all good.
But yeah, give me another couple Isaac Browns for that price.
And we again though, we have no reason to doubt our staff on their high school or transfer portal evaluation of talent. Like, especially in the skill position. I mean, dude, like I think Thompson's gonna be a stud. Lakey, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, and I'm glad you brought this up because I do want to say this. When I was at practice last week, there wasn't a player that was coached harder than Lake. Like,
I think they know his talent. They know what the talent is. And that's exactly why.
And you have Marquise Davis there also.
Exactly. Oh my god, dude! A room with Marquise Davis and Lakey, and then let's maybe say we get another. Um, I mean, I don't have our recruiting board off the top of my head, but like another running back coming in, or like a transfer portal running back. I mean,
they do have another good running back in next year's class.
that's what I'm saying. I can't think of the name, but I know we do. And the thing is, like, we've had great running backs since Brom's been here. Like, dude, we started out with Jawar and Isaac. Like, what do we like? I have that's like the one position I'm like, dude, I could do no research on in first game of the year and be like, oh, okay, like I know they're going to be good.
They've had 8 total guys, and only one of them has been a flop.
Who was the flop?
All due respect, I'm not going to say that name,
Okay,
but
okay,
he
I
came from
respect it. I
another. He
respect it.
came from another ACC program.
Okay, okay, I know who you're talking about.
Oh man,
He's still playing college football.
are we gonna consider Duke Watson a flop? Or
I was just about to.
Oh
It's
shit,
so
I forgot
funny.
about Duke.
It's
Okay,
so
we
funny.
got two. We got two then. We got two. My bad.
I don't think Duke's a flop though, man. He just
Dude,
did
he's
so
fat.
well.
He's fat.
I think he let the ego get to his head, man. I really do.
He got fat, dude.
And I say that as a bigger guy. I'm like, he got fat. Like I'm
Dude,
big
no, like
too.
I mean, like he put on like 24 pounds in the span
I
of like
know.
four
I know.
months.
He said, "Hell, I balled out freshman year. I can do this." It's like, brother, it's
That's the one thing that I don't. In regards to Isaac alone here, he's up to 195. Like, and he looks good. He's bigger than he was last year. And the whole running back room is bigger than they were last year. I mean, Braxton Jennings doesn't even look like the same guy. And
that's the thing, dude. We had Braxton Jennings come in against UK, and again, I know it was the end of the year. Maybe that players tapped out, whatever. But like, we had our fourth string guy, just come in and just absolutely tear it up. I have no worries of the running back room whatsoever.
so, college football fans will know this comparison. But when I walked away after watching Braxton last week, the immediate name that came to mind to me was Ian Johnson, the former, the Boise State running back
What a fucking pull!
from back in the day. Like,
What a
That's
pull! What a
EBK right
pull!
there. EBK.
that is immediately what came to mind. And if y'all remember, Ian Johnson was a dude at
What
Boise.
a what a fucking pull from Brad.
Hey,
Yeah, that's EBK right there, brother. No, I didn't doubt you, but
I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, so you can say I said it. We have Ian Johnson.
You who scores the first touchdown for Louisville football season?
It's going to be Isaac.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm basic, but it's Isaac Brown.
If you want an off the wall answer, it's going to be the name I've stuck behind all summer and really all off season. Give me Gavin Waddle.
Oh my god. This man rode with the EBK, not the
I'm taking
EBK roll.
Foley.
I
I'm
was
taking
gonna say
Foley
I
also.
like Foley. I will say this. I think, which it would be a strong possibility. I think our boy Lincoln runs it in.
I think Foley, man, tight ends are gonna make a splash this year.
Josh, I think we have a
We do. We have
requester.
Oliver. Oliver's been waiting. What's up, brother?
Hey, I know y'all are talking about football, but I did just have to bring this up. We got another Mark Pope whiff today, and I think that needs to be celebrated.
Oliver, I need you to clarify, pal, please.
Sorry, Jackson Kohler.
Oh, yeah. Was that? I thought that was yesterday.
No, it wasn't
My bad.
yesterday. It
My
might have been
days are mixed up.
yesterday. Sorry, we got another Mark Pope whiff in the last 48 hours.
I thought you were talking about Mark Mitchell for a second. I was about to throw my phone.
Well, I don't know. That has not been announced, right? That's still pending.
The longer it gets delayed, I think the better chances it happens. I really do.
I would tend to agree, unless Louisville's just got a real inside track on him, which I don't think y'all do.
I personally don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's Kentucky.
I'll say this. Mark Mitchell's going to Kentucky.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's a matter of time.
I think it's also a matter of like, will he actually be eligible? I genuinely hope that none of the fifth-year guys are eligible, because that's just dumb. But if he is playing for anyone next season, it'll be Kentucky. I agree.
Now, it's important to note for those who join late. So, Seth Trimble needs to be listed on a state level injunction, like Mark Mitchell was, or Hutch was, or Mack was, and so does Perry. And he will be eligible to play. Mark Mitchell had a double roadblock, one of which was getting through the courts, and that was a check mark today. The next, like our friend Oliver is talking about, is the eligibility piece. Per the SEC bylaws, he did not enter the portal, therefore is ineligible to transfer.
But he only has eligibility in Kentucky, correct? Because that's where he filed the lawsuit, right?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
He was able to file that lawsuit because he played a game in the state of Kentucky
Oh,
last year.
gotcha.
Chris is our certified lawman.
Dumbass.
Illegal
He is
assault.
eligible to play for only Missouri, is what you're saying, or
No, he's eligible to play wherever he wants.
okay?
Oliver, have y'all gotten clearance on that one kid y'all brought from overseas?
Micah?
Yeah.
I don't think so. He did not play in any of our exhibitions yet.
Kid's a stud
Like
too,
I
man.
would fully like unlike many of the fifth years, like I would say that you could almost say with 99% certainty Micah will be playing in the first regular season game. But I just don't understand what the holdup has been on him for his eligibility.
Hey boys, not to cut you off, I gotta jump off here real quick. If y'all are still on here in the handful of minutes, I'll be right back.
We heard this the other day.
Oh my god, man. I
Sorry.
gotta help the missus. I'll be right back.
Sorry, Oliver. Elon booted me for a second. So he hasn't gotten cleared yet, but y'all
He
expect him to?
as of our last exhibition game, he was not eligible to play. But I would fully expect him to be eligible for the first regular season game.
I must admit, who are you talking about?
Micah Miranen or Mika Miranen.
One of their international kids.
Yeah, he's like probably like our, other than Jordan Smith Jr., I'd say he's probably the second best player in our recruiting class.
Y'all are going to be really good.
I think so. I think that this is a more well-rounded roster than last year. Obviously, we will not have the star power of Darius Acuff and then also Malik Thomas averaging over 40 points per game combined. But this is a much better roster overall. I mean, like we were very bad down low and really outside of the guard position. But similar to y'all, y'all were not very good outside of the guard position.
Yeah. How do y'all feel about Silverfield?
What are you talking about? Getting on the Cardinal Companion space and dissing Fernando Fru like that.
Yeah.
It's already been a rough day, Oliver.
He's a $3 million man now.
Where is that?
Marquette.
Really? Wow. Shaka finally used the portal, and that's what he spent it on.
Is he actually?
Yes, like it's been widely reported. He's at 3.
That dude is making so much money in Wisconsin.
Well, and that's like the first transfer that Shaka Smart's ever brought in at Marquette. Like, I mean, like that guy's never used the transfer portal.
Yeah, he's the Dabo of basketball.
He really.
He's the
Dabo
he's the next Hakeem Olajuwon of the game in Wisconsin. I don't know. It's remarkable. The year over year transition for Fru.
But how do y'all feel about Silverfield?
Look, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't super high on the hire. I just, his resume, the fact that he never made a conference championship game there. I don't care how many games he won. He never made a conference championship in a situation where he had the most resources, and he really should have. I'm just not super high on the guy. I thought his resume was bad. I think he's done a lot of good things since he's been here. He's doing a lot of the right things. He has gotten a lot of he got like his first day of recruiting. He got like three of the top in-state guys to flip over to Arkansas from big-time programs. I gotta give him credit where credit's due. He kept our best player from last year, who was getting mocked in the late first, early second. He somehow convinced him to stay another year. He's done a great job with boosters. I just don't think he's a winning football coach. But I'm going to give him a chance, and I think he's done good stuff since he's been here. But at the end of the day, I just don't think he's gonna. He's not a winner. He hasn't been, and I don't think he's gonna do all that well. I mean, but hopefully he leaves us in a better spot than Pittman or Chad Morris did.
Can't be much worse than
Who would you like to see to be the coach?
Like really, Silverfield was always a transitionary coach, and as long as he leaves us in a better spot, whether that be wins and losses or with the boosters, because obviously, like, there's a lot of money in Northwest Arkansas that hasn't been unlocked. If that improves, then so be it. You know, that I won't have too much, but I just don't see him as a winner. But the one thing I will say is he seems to have a knack for coaching up in ability. He also has a knack for coaching down. But like, I fully expect to pull off an upset this year. We'll get at least one.
So if you had your way, who would you want to be the coach at Arkansas football?
Initially I was really pushing for. I initially wanted James Franklin. He very quickly decided Virginia Tech, which I guess he didn't want to come back to the SEC. Maybe he didn't want to come to Arkansas. Something tells me he probably wouldn't come to any of the SEC teams though.
You know what? And Josh and Brad will tell you that, but I have them on that's my team to overachieve this year
The
is
Virginia
Virginia
Tech.
Tech.
Oh, I mean he's
Yeah.
a very good coach, and you won't lose games that you shouldn't with James Franklin. Now maybe your ceiling's a little capped, but I think Virginia Tech's okay with that. Plus, the ACC's not at its strongest right now, so I think he's probably got a pretty manageable schedule. I haven't looked at their schedule, but
Their schedule's actually probably toughest in the ACC this year, but
really,
yeah, brutal first year, but I agree. He's a heck of a coach. He's going to deliver there.
I thought that
Yeah.
was a pretty rash decision to fire him, especially when your starting quarterback is out for the year, anyways.
The one thing that I will say here, Oliver, is that if it doesn't work out with Silverfield, we're probably good for one more Gus Malzahn rumor to Arkansas.
Yeah, no one's given that any credit.
Right, and we're possibly looking at a future, maybe Rhett Lashley rumor.
Yeah, that'd be a fair one.
And then we wouldn't have to worry about him anymore. That would be the goal for me.
Is Louisville in cahoots with Rhett Lashley?
No, it's just the last. Well, we've only played him twice since they've been in the ACC, but he's had our number, and he's had our number. So if he leaves,
they're a new blood. They're a new blood. Got it?
Yeah, right. Their fan base loves to say that.
Yeah. I know that guy. I know that guy pretty well.
Right.
Let's not forget though, they've got the money to fork up, if not top 5, they're top 10. If they want to keep him, they're going to be able to keep him. They're not dumb, people who's running that program, and they understand that the revenue is going to come from football.
Didn't they just sign him to an extension last offseason?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Oliver, but if I believe Arkansas would have the money to pull.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, if the SEC money came in and really wanted to commit itself to Rhett Lashley, but Arkansas could outbid SMU.
And he is an Arkansas grad, for those that don't know.
He is a Gus Malzahn protege. Actually.
Exactly.
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah. So Rhett Lashley was I believe, quarterbacks coach or something to Gus Malzahn on the Cam Newton team that Auburn, and he has followed. Maybe not the Cam Newton team, but maybe it was the Nick Marshall team. But he has basically been with Gus Malzahn. Like he came up with Gus Malzahn, and Rhett Lashley is from Springdale, I believe.
Yeah, my comment wasn't specific to Arkansas. I'm just saying in general, SMU would pony up the money.
They could pony up money, but I don't know if it would be enough to. I think an SEC, any SEC team could easily come in over the top.
And did he play at Arkansas in the early 2000s?
Yeah, no, he literally is from Springdale, which is 20 minutes north of Fayetteville. Like he's a Northwest Arkansas guy. He is a Gus Malzahn guy, though, is the problem with Arkansas, because obviously, Gus Malzahn and Arkansas have their issues. So that's the only thing that I think was keeping him from coming here. Otherwise, if he was like a Houston Nut guy, he'd probably be here.
So who's your one team in the SEC that overperforms and one team that underperforms this year?
I guess two teams I'm particularly low on in the SEC are Auburn and Tennessee. I don't think those teams will do well. If you consider an overperform based on just betting lines, Oklahoma's at 7.5, and I just don't see that team as a 7-8 win team. I think they're going to win a few more games than that, even though they're tough schedule. But I think Georgia's still going to be the class of the SEC, though. I mean, I think they're 11-1, 12-0, probably.
Think we see another letdown year from Bama?
Man, it's hard to say because like nobody knows who their quarterback is yet. That's still undecided, and I'm not that I know a ton about. I'd assume it'd probably be that Keelan Russell guy, but I mean, I didn't think last year's Alabama team was. I didn't think they were better than Notre Dame, and I mean, obviously they kind of showed that against Indiana. I wouldn't be surprised if this Alabama team goes 9-3 and misses the playoffs.
No, I agree. I think the honeymoon's over for Bama. I in my opinion, we could see Alabama looking for a new football coach at the end of the year.
Well,
Really?
those dumbasses in Tuscaloosa just extended
Well,
DeBoer.
I was just about to say, I don't think they can afford to
Yeah.
fire DeBoer at the end of this year. That's been kind of the thing. Is some Bama fans thought that DeBoer should have been gone before last year, and I mean, which is crazy because DeBoer is a good. I think DeBoer is a good coach. Whether he's a fit at Alabama is a different discussion, but I think he's a good coach.
I didn't
And
realize they gave him an extension.
Yeah. And there's a lot of they're pulling back the veil, somewhat of an Alabama guy. If anyone didn't know that. There's a lot of discussion about why the board pushed through the extension the way they did and how it just kind of came up out of nowhere.
yeah, I mean, they already signed him to a pretty. He's already under contract for several more years, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that the board extension is.
I was like,
I don't know.
and it's not,
I
it's not
think.
like people are sitting there eyeing the Alabama head coach and saying, "Yeah, let's go ahead and poach that guy."
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I think Kalen's a good coach. He's proved it. He's a complete cultural mismatch in Tuscaloosa.
Yes, yeah, that's always been the thing. He's not a fit in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, but my thing has always been I don't know who is going to go out and hire Kalen DeBoer.
No, I'd let Arkansas. I'd hire him.
Well, yeah, but like before the contract, like okay, who is going to go?
Yeah,
Who's
that's what I
yeah?
was saying. Is I don't think that any program out there is sitting there saying, we need a new head coach. Let's go ahead and poach the guy who's in Tuscaloosa right now. Well, I
I
don't think
think
anyone's
in
sitting.
2 years,
I don't think
now that
anyone's
I
sitting
know
there looking
this,
at Alabama as a walking or a lame duck.
now that I know this about that contract, I'm just kind of playing it out in my head. I think in 2 years, you could see Penn State going after him.
After Kalen DeBoer?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Matt Campbell is under contract for several years. Like he's under contract for a while. In 2 years, that's a kind of a quick turnaround.
Be a quick turn. Yeah, and they're a slow moving university, man.
Yeah, well, and great. Even despite the quick movement on James Franklin, I'd agree. I think Matt Campbell's got many years, especially with this first year getting such a light schedule. I just don't see how they win less than 8 games. And for Penn State in the first year, that's good enough for another 2-3 years.
I don't know. I think this expanded college football playoff has thrown some unique wrenches in the wheels. You know, I think the powerhouse in their minds, powerhouse football programs aren't going to accept multiple years or back to back years of missing, a playoff appearance. To be honest with you. And so I think you have an 8-win season. Okay, you come back next year and have a 9-win season. Your seat's pretty hot if
Well,
you're at a Bama, a Penn State.
the one that I think is a make or break playoff or bust, playoff or fired is Lincoln Riley.
They've spent so much money in the
Like
offseason
I
also.
just don't really see like you're out of excuses for Lincoln Riley if they don't make the playoffs this year. You've got Oregon.
I've heard they're going to be scary good though.
I think they're very good too, and actually Jaden Mayava for me is a dark horse Heisman. But like you have Ohio State and Oregon at home. There's no excuses for not winning both of those at this point. I mean, this is their best roster, top to bottom. They may not have a Caleb Williams, but just the whole roster is probably their best one. To me, like you've been good, you've been fine under Lincoln Riley. You've had some good years, you've had some down years, but if you're a USC, USC's blue blood. If you think you're a blue blood, which they should, if it's not the playoffs, then what are you doing? And I think you got to fire Lincoln Riley. I don't know. I think the leash is very short.
Well, I'm not asking this because you're an Arkansas fan, but let's say Sark misses out on the playoffs. Is there start to be some question marks?
I mean, I think- to me, I would not fire Steve Sarkisian if I were Texas. And I mean, I know some people like to try to. I don't think any Texas fans necessarily want Sarkisian gone either. I know some other fans or some other people like try to stir up this rumor, but I wouldn't fire Sarkisian. I don't think so. I think though. I think if he misses the playoffs, the seat's for sure hot though, but not gone. He's not gone.
I don't know. I think also kind of my issue now is after last cycle of last year with the head coaches, it might be a little unrealistic on that point where I'm just like, oh, let's fire everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's true. You got to think about who's going to be available. But to me, yeah, I think the seat is hot for Sarkisian if he misses the playoffs, or maybe like gets to the playoffs and gets bounced first round, and you have another uncompetitive showing against Georgia. But I mean, he's not gone after this year unless they just fall apart.
Yeah. But Chris, I think I'm going to round us out. We're at the 2.5 minute mark, 2.5 hour minute mark.
I will say uh, the Mario Cristobal. I'm not a Mario Cristobal guy. I thought that was not a great extension for what is it, 10 years?
Kind of agree. I know that Miami got hot last year, but man, the coaching mistakes they show up, and they still showed up last year.
Look, like Miami was my team to win it all since the beginning of the year. Like they were my pick all year to win it all because I knew how good they were in the trenches, both offensively and defensively. I like their skill positions on offense, and as much as people like to hate on Carson Beck, last year when Carson Beck was playing well, he was probably the most pro-ready quarterback in terms of ready to run an NFL pro-style offense. What ended up biting Miami in the butt was, and what happened during their loss. Well, the Louisville when they lost to y'all, that was just like Carson Beck was just on an interception rampage. But yes, I'd agree that Mario Cristobal's in-game management is still just piss poor. It's bad. Like he's just not. I don't care what kind of talent he brings in. Anyone can bring talent into Miami. He's just not a great in-game coach.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna finish this up though. Appreciate everybody listening in. Chris, thanks for stopping by. All the other great speakers, thank you. Thank you for rounding us out, Oliver. We will catch you guys next time. Hopefully, not talking about as many lawsuits.
Thanks, Josh.